So last week we touched about importance of understanding the Shraddha. When we are, I would say, appeared in the world, what we are is a gift of God to us. And through the life process of bhakti or purifying our consciousness, what we become is a gift to God. Everybody understand the difference? What we are, this is a gift from God to me, to us, each of us. What we become, purified our consciousness, we become pure devotee, we become lover of God, lover of Krishna. That is a gift to him from us. It's a reciprocation. Follow? So, as we discussed that, Srila Prabhupada boldly said, no one can live. Are you living or you are dead? If you are living, then you must be loving somebody. You cannot live without loving someone. You follow? It's not just Prabhupada's word, it is a reality. We can see what Prabhupada said is so true. And when you don't find anybody to love, you love cats or dog or something, someone, something you love. Nobody can live without loving. But Prabhupada gave a very good logic that this is the same purpose where there is a nationalist or philanthropist or a politician. We just had a huge, we would say our nation's politics changes. One person leave, one person came in. That was very nice. They allowed Hare Krishna. This is the first time in the history of America they allowed Hare Krishna to be one of the recognized religious society in the world. And they allowed Anuttama Prabhu, one of our GBC, to give a speech. And he gave a beautiful speech. So this is nice. Krishna has a plan. At least we are recognized as a bona fide. Anyway, so back to this point that Srila Prabhupada makes, that whatever you like to succeed in life, you express to show your love to your family, to your community, to your country, to your whatever humankind, you can go on. But you will never be completely satisfied, neither it will accomplish complete satisfaction until you come to love your beloved Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. That is guaranteed. So that's why Prabhupada says that when you come to develop love for Krishna, then you can embrace Krishna. By embracing Krishna, actually you can embrace the whole creation. Why? Because Krishna is the root of all existence. Just like watering to the root of a tree, you water the whole tree. You don't need separate endeavor. So similarly, that we must develop. So in order to become a first-class lover, whatever level we are, what is the one ingredient we need? What do we need? This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's idea. He said, the difference between the great lover of God or pure devotee, Mahabhagavat, versus a new fight just came today is only one ingredient. It's the degree of faith. Shraddhavan Jan Hai Bhakti Adhikari, then Uttam Madhyam Kanishta Shraddha Manusari. This is in Madhya Lila chapter 22, text 64. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, only this one ingredient makes pure devotee versus just a new admittance in the school of bhakti. So we discussed last week what is faith. You can, Mother Kishori Rani, put it on the YouTube. You can hear it if you need to. What is faith? What is the origin of faith? Is faith is eternal principle? We discussed those if you remember. What is Shraddha? How does faith relate to belief and trust? Why do I need faith? Does spiritual growth depend on faith? What is blind faith? And what is alternative to blind faith? How many types of faith are there? How do we get faith? So today we're going to start discussing how many types of faith, and the further question is, why do we see some faith wave? What is the difference between faithlessness or faithfulness or doubts? What does it mean to have faith that God can do anything? What kind of faith is demonstrated by someone who says, just believe the way we tell you, you will get. Like in this country, they say, just believe Jesus. Jesus is the only way. Similarly, many cultures, they dictates kind of like this, or they propaganda make that you have to believe in that way. So with that, we are going to start addressing today. How many types of faith are there? Now, last week we discussed, is the faith we have to earn or faith is within us? It has to be awakened. Which one? Within us is pure eternal faith. Faith is actually who you are. It's inseparable. You cannot separate. If you ask one Muslim person, Christian, Jews, Hare Krishnas, Hindus, whatever the categories, they all look American. What's the difference? Inside their belief, the food they eat, the culture they follow, the dress they wear, the association they have, this is what it makes it. On the religious ceremony where they go, that's what makes it. But they're all American in a one sense. So here, it is a universal, because it says, Rupa Goswami says that faith is eternal, and Lord Krishna in 11th canto Bhagavatam explains this. Adhyatmiki Shraddha Karma Shraddha Su Rajasa Tamasi Adharme Shraddha Mat Shraddha Su Nirguna. Every soul has eternally a faith to love me, to serve me. Faith is not something you have to get it from somewhere. But we do use that word. You need faith. Means that faith that originally within us has got contaminated. Contaminated means things changes by the pressure, by the association. In the psychology world, in America, they say that you never find a drug addict person ever went into drug addiction without association of those who are into drug. It's not just he just woke up in the morning, one day morning, and he started becoming drug addict. No. It was there in the association through his mind. Contemplated, then he went in and then he became addicted. So similarly, our original faith has contamination, and that contamination created three types of faith by the three modes of material nature. So according to their contamination, one believes what they believe. Whatever anybody believes, if this three point we should always remember is the eternal truth. Lover, loved, beloved. or you can say servant, service, served. Prabhupada used that three words. These three things are eternal truth. Axiomatic. You know the word axiom? Means cannot be changed. You are servant of God. You cannot change it. You can accept, you cannot accept, you may not accept, but it will never change. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. It's axiom. It will never become 5 or 3. Doesn't matter how many million times you type it. It will. So similarly, these three subject matter, the servant, service, and served, or lover, beloved, and love, is eternal truth. Now, when somebody says, I don't believe in God, that is also his faith. It's just contaminated heavily. Everybody understood that, right? So question comes, why does faith wane? We see that somebody is very enthusiastic for a while, and then some or other, we don't know what happened, stop coming, stop even chanting or pursuing it. How this happened? So our acharyas are giving some idea about it, that examine your heart, your consciousness, and see if these symptoms are there. Sometimes those fortunate persons who have associated with Krishna's devotee began the process of Krishna consciousness, find there one staunch, faithful becomes feeble, then determination to execute devotional service founders. Why? That's wonder. Number one thing can undermine spiritual faith by the conduct, by the association they associate. Recently we just read on Ekadashi Day, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, every Ekadashi you should examine your heart. From last Ekadashi, did I progress or I stayed same or I went down? Because bhakti is dynamic. You know the difference between stagnant and dynamic? Stagnant means you have a relationship, husband, wife, or father, children, whatever relationship you have. It's after a little while, it's the same thing. It's my dad. It's like a boring. But spiritual life is not boring. It's a dynamic. It should be always focused in that way. Krishna is not a stagnant. He's not a God statue standing there. You just bow down every day and that's it. No, there is a reciprocation. You follow? There is a jubilation. There is a joyful experience every day, every moment. This is what spiritual life is. So when we see that it is waning, means the association we have, maybe it's contaminating. Second could be the process that we follow, we are not following properly. Or we are listening something that is actually taking us away, making us what they call slackness. Slackness. Like I was fired up to chant at 2 o'clock in the morning, before Mangalarti, finish your rounds, but then even 4 o'clock you don't feel like to get up. Why? This slackness coming? Because either association with the people that are contaminating, or you are not determined on your vow. So then question comes, what are the description that Rupa Goswami Pad and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives? These are very wonderful. I'm going to read one thing here. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, the readers should realize this wonderful nectar because nothing compares to it. Keeping their faith firmly fixed within their mind, they should be careful not to fall into the pit of false argument of the whirlpools or unfortunate situation. If one falls into such position, he is finished. Srila Prabhupada writes in Madhya 25, chapter 278. I'm not going to ask any of you. You all are senior to me in a sense. Do you read every day? Do you hear every day? This is compulsory. And Madhya chapter 25, 278, Prabhupada said, if you don't, you will fall down. Every day there has to be good sadhana. It's a revelation because our inmate in the material world, we are inmate in the material world. I don't know if you ever went to the jail. I went a couple of times for a preaching purpose. No. And if you ask there, they have an inmate. Inmate, they become so accustomed of living there 15 years, 20 years, they don't fit outside. When they are released, they don't fit outside. So they like to stay there. But the jail is not made for that. Jail is not for correction. Some rectification and release. But if you fall in love with the jail, the purpose is lost. So most of the conditioned soul problem is that they fall in love with this. And one of the way to check, like the doubts. Doubt is one of the killer in bhakti, actually, that it slows us down. There are two types of doubts. One is head doubts, one is heart doubts. Head doubts means you want to have an intellectual understanding to continue and you're not getting it. Then you feel like, oh, just how do you believe that actually Sumeru mountain, Bhagavatam says, is 100,000 jojana times 8, is 800,000 solid gold is floating. Well, you don't have a faith. But this is an intellectual doubt, you may say. So what should you do? The Bhagavatam suggests that you should go to advanced devotee, those who have strong faith, and inquire to them by their association, because they are always in reality. By their association, you can also get out of the doubt. What happened when you glorify other Vaishnavas' devotional quality? Your doubt goes down. When you start finding fault in other devotees, your doubt goes up and your faith goes down. This is like a balance. I know most of the devotees never want to criticize anybody, always want to appreciate other devotees. Even a neophyte devotee, we can appreciate their coming to Krishna consciousness. So it is very important that we should always have a strong faith. Second question we put, what is the difference between faithfulness, doubts, and faithlessness? Well, let's see. A good example is Hiranyakashipu. Good example is Shishupal. Shishupal is an example of faithlessness. He voiced his envious and disturbed nature when of hearing in Rajasuya sacrifice. I'm sure you all are aware, when they all decided the first worship should be Krishna, for Krishna. But Shishupal, in his mind, he's thinking, he's just a village boy, does not have a good character. He used to steal when he was a child. He used to steal ladies' clothes. And he has a whole list how Krishna is not at all an object of worship. So this is a faithlessness, you can say. You follow? Hiranyakashipu is another one. He has a doubt. He does not want to accept any other authority higher than him. He wants to put himself. Guru Mara Vidya. Sometimes, I hope no devotee does, you want to advance under your guru or another devotee so quick, so fast, that actually you want to be higher than that person. This is a Guru Mara Vidya, because these are dangerous. So, Srila Prabhupada explains, doubt is one of the important functions of intelligence. Blind acceptance of something does not give evidence of intelligence. Everybody understood that? Blind acceptance of something does not give evidence of intelligence. In order to cultivate intelligence, one should be doubtful in the beginning. Is nothing wrong. Bhagavatam 3.26.30 purport. Often atheists are faithless, not because they are thought through and weighed all evidence and argument about God's existence, but because they are imbibed the faithlessness of their circumstances or have been exposed to only part of the evidence and argument about God's existence. Their faithlessness is circumstantial. As Prabhupada did not want his follower to be blind in their faithfulness, so he calls upon materialists not to be blind in their faithlessness. Rather, all of us are enjoined to consider things careful with intelligence in the association of clear-headed person. Prabhupada continues, doubting is not very favorable when information is received from the proper source. The study of determine whether one's identity is spiritual or material begins in doubt. We should doubt until we hear from the bona fide scriptures and sages. Then we use our intelligence to grasp and realize their transcendental words. This sounds like a very heavy philosophy, but guess what? That's what you're doing every day. You just don't think like this, but that's what you do. Each of us, they do. We do every day. When we chant, we're thinking, what are we doing? Okay, I'm here, I'm supposed to chant. Sometimes we don't even think, we just chant. And after a little while, oh, we finished one round. Were you here? Were you chanting? Did you have a feeling with the chanting? What are you talking about? I was chanting, I think so. I mean, I finished the beats, it looks like I finished. If you really think very deeply, this is what we do. So the faithful know they will never be defeated. For Krishna tells Arjuna, declare it boldly, Name Bhakta Pranashyati, that my devotee will never perish. Those who are faithful are satisfied, knowing they have obtained their position through their past activities. And they see God's hand behind everything, even suffering. And the famous verse, I really request everybody to remember. Even if you don't know the Sanskrit, but you should memorize this verse. It's a 10 canto, 14 chapter, text 8. And those who know, because this is whenever you have struggle, even if you don't have a struggle, if you have a doubt or anything, you can actually examine that verse and you'll find satisfaction. This is where my sickness is. This is where I'm lacking. Beautiful verse. Tatte nukampa susumikshamana unjane bhatma kritam vipakam ridbaka bopubir vidadan namaste jive tujumukti padeshadayava. My dear Lord, this is the translation of Prabhupada. One who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reaction of his past misdeed, offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. Person convinced of Krishna's position and opulences accept him with great faith and without any doubt engage in serving him with devotion. As a result, they become uninterested in material affairs, are always in a favorable mood and are joyful. They feel privileged to serve Krishna and do so with great hope and gratitude. Question came, what does it mean to have faith that God can do anything? That was one of the questions. I remember Sripad Radhanath Maharaj says, one who has faith in the inconceivable potency. Whenever you see Krishna, can you develop like from tonight? You always think, whenever you see Krishna, whenever you think of Krishna, inconceivable potency. Jiva Goswami Pad says, if you cannot remember that, you cannot actually find the relationship attractive. Because you think, I know he's the deity, but I have some problem. But you don't understand. If you actually see him that way, all your problem is already will be solved by the time you have that. Generally, we try to solve the problem, then come to Krishna. But if you come to Krishna, problem will be solved. It's required for understanding, have faith on this. So you have to remember, Krishna is always inconceivable potency. And Radhanath Maharaj says, one who has faith in the inconceivable potency of the Lord has no doubt that God can do anything. And I'm going to tell you that story that I mentioned before, that after the Kaliya was subdued by Krishna, by force, by his footprint. It's very nice, very fortunate Kaliya. Then Kaliya finally left, and when Krishna came back as Mother Yashoda, Nanda Baba, everybody, they were about to jump in the lake to rescue Krishna. Why they didn't jump? Why they didn't jump? Because Balaram was smiling. In a danger, if you have a danger, if something danger in one house and the parents are smiling, then the children think like, oh, that's not danger, it's like a little fun. Because they don't understand what danger or not danger. Similarly, if we see the police say, oh, it's all funny, it's okay, we are. Oh, I thought there's a danger. No, it's okay. When police say that, we also say, oh, okay, it's okay. We thought it's dangerous. So similarly, Balaram has a personality like this. He was smiling and blocking everybody. He expanded himself into thousands of Balaram. But they didn't see he's the thousands of Balaram. They saw only one Balaram blocking. So nobody went there. Then Krishna comes back. So you think there's a superstitious in every culture. In Golok Vrindavan, there is a superstitious origin culture. So you know what Krishna says? Tonight we are not going home. Because they say, if you play with the snake, and that snake can take revenge at night. So if we go home, it's dangerous, we're going to stay here. So they stayed at that night on the shore of Kaliya Lake, 8 square mile. It's a big 8 square mile. So they stayed there, and at the middle of the night, there was, of course, this is the first what they call fell in love between the gopis and Krishna. The real fell in love. They had a severe heart change in their heart. Because right before that, they were betrothed to someone. And now, today, they saw an artistic design. It's very interesting how Yogamaya creates this atmosphere. That when Krishna was jumping from one hood to another hood, his artistic dancing attracting the heart of those girls, millions of girls. They're like, wow, is this a real hero? Now, all the mother Yashoda and Nanda Baba, they're thinking, my son is in danger. He's going to be killed by this snake. We want to rush and rescue him. But the girls are thinking of, wow, what a beautiful, such a charismatic hero. So everybody had their own feeling. It was very interesting. So at night, when they all went to sleep, in Vedic culture, they sleep, all the children first in the middle, then all the mothers, then all the fathers, and then all the elderly brahmanas, and then all the security guard, and then the external guard, like this, circle, huge. So the fire, literally blazing fire came out from somewhere, nobody knows. The fire was so powerful fire, it's literally like devouring all these millions of Brajavasis. So they all immediately streamed out, because Gargacharya says to take shelter of who? Krishna. They're not thinking that Krishna is God, but they know that if they take shelter of Krishna, he will always protect, and he does. They have such a strong faith. Now, if you think, really, I'm going to ask you this. Will you do this if your child does this? If there's a fire in the house and say, it's okay, just lie down here, breathe cool, Just think you are happy clown, enjoying life, and house is on fire. Your child told you, will you do this? Really ask it so. I doubt, but maybe not, I shouldn't say. But they, Krishna, what did Krishna say? Krishna did reciprocate as soon as they say with their prayers, but not without testing their faith in him. This is the key point where the faith comes. If we can develop that kind of faith, it's easy to say, it sounds like a nice story, pastime. Can we develop that kind of faith with Krishna? Krishna is not going to come as a God. I'm the God, I'll protect them. He's not God, he's just a one of family member. Lokik Sambandhava. Lokik Sambandhava means one of the family member. You know family member? You are familiar. It's as if you know everything about that person. So Krishna told his friends something shocking. He told them, lay down peacefully. Close your eyes. He told all the Brajavasis, close your eyes to imagine as if cool breeze was blowing. Now the fire is about to devour. Just think, really, will you do this? So then Krishna says, just lie down and relax, and cool breeze is coming over you. All are very nicely, go to sleep. Put yourself in that situation of those Brajavasis or boys. You are surrounded by a massive forest fire with fiery woods falling from everywhere. Krishna is telling you to close your eyes and sleep. This is the craziest thing to do, isn't it? No fool will ever do this. Try to understand this. Who will not do this? No fool will ever do this. Fool, you know, no intelligence. The two most important things that anyone would naturally do in the situation is to keep his eyes open. What the majority of people will do when this thing happens? They will run, they will open their eyes and run. But Krishna says, close your eye and lie down. Try to grasp this. Don't take it like a lightly. Don't think like, oh, it's a Krishna book story. No, think, put yourself. Can you put yourself? There is a fire, you are about to be dead. But that boy, Krishna comes and says, just lie down here, close your eye. Though even the foolish people, they will run away. They will rather open their eye, not listen to Krishna, and run. It's a fact. Who would be that crazy guy who would dare to close their eyes and lie down? Who? Huh?
Those who have faith.
Those who have faith. Try to understand this. We're trying to be Brajavashi follower, but it's not easy. This is the one incident I thought very deeply, that Krishna said, just lie down, even though they are seeing the fire is like coming, like about to kill them. Krishna said, just lie down, close your eye, cool breeze will come. And so my question is, even somebody has no intelligence, a foolish person, will he do this? Forget about dedicated surrender soul. We are all surrender devotee. I'm talking about karmi, foolish. Will he do it? No. What will you do? It's easy. I'll follow Krishna. Really? Will you? That's where the test comes. Well, there are always those rare and crazy souls who really dare anything to please God. This is precisely the difference between these great devotees, friends of Krishna, Brajavasis. They had absolute, implicit, simple faith in Krishna and his words. Believe me, I will not say anybody's name, when something goes wrong, even in my life I saw it. We think of Krishna will protect, but we think like to figure it out ourselves. We'll do it ourselves. We don't depend on Krishna. It's so true. And man, this is the biggest problem, that we do not depend on Krishna. We think we can figure it out, and if everything fails, well, Krishna is there. It's an idea, like icon. But you have to have that strong faith. The story goes on that the Brajavashi, without hesitation, with absolute faith, did close their eyes with great innocence, imagine at their experiencing cool bridge. Krishna at once drank all the fire into his mouth, and it was some like a kind of like a liquid drinks or something, even though it's a million amounts of fire. But it was like like you drink your water. Krishna just drank like that whole thing. When Brajavashi opened their eyes, they saw absolutely there was no touch of fire. And with God of magic as their friend, what was not possible? Seeing magic was their daily affair. Their life had become magical because of the magic of their faith in the magical Krishna. This unimaginable, craziest thing kept happening in their life because of the craziness of Krishna every day in Govinda. This is what ultimately boils down to the faith. Faith is not something like you can calculate. There is a little tab of Prabhupada. It's very interesting. I'm going to read it. I don't know if any one of you know Hari Vilas Prabhu. I know him. Mother Parijat lives here, her husband. He was traveling with Prabhupada sometime. So he asked a question, Prabhupada, what does it mean to be humble? To be humble, sorry. And Prabhupada answered. It was a very interesting answer. He says, humble means that you are convinced. So you can ask yourself, beyond any doubt, that there is nothing in this world, absolutely nothing in this world, not your money, not your family, not your fame, not your gun, not your education, nothing that will save you except the mercy of Krishna. When you are convinced like this, then you are humble. So ask yourself if you are humble in that way. If you don't like to say it, you don't have to say it. But ask yourself, really do. Yes?
Can I ask a question? And on some instances, Srila Prabhupada,
Louder.
On some instances, Srila Prabhupada was telling to use intelligence when the difficult situation comes. So, can you tell what situations is this?
He said in that same lecture, he also gave the example. If there is a rain, you don't complain. You take umbrella and go. Why? Because you cannot control the rain. Use intelligence means you get an umbrella. So from that angle, but at the same time, practically when things happen in the devotee's life, can we accept that verse that I mentioned? Can we accept that this is my actually merciful little doses of reaction that I deserve to actually suffer more, but Krishna just minimized it and gave a little. Can I really take it like that? Or am I going to say, why my life is so hard? Why Krishna is not listening to me? I'm praying, I don't know. Pran Govinda said that Krishna listened. Maybe he listened to him, but I don't think he's listened to me. You will have it out like this. Because we don't like to accept. We don't like to be responsible for our own misdeed. It's hard. It's not easy, I tell you. I went through tough time in my own mind for years. And I will look at back and say, wow, this is such a horrible, this material existence. It's not easy to be surrendered. Easy to explain, but not easy to really come out of miserable time.
Can I expand on what I think she's asking? The difference between when do we depend on Krishna and when do we use our intelligence to get out of the situation of all of ourselves. I
Nice. It depends on your relationship with Krishna. Because when you say, give an example. Give an example, say, car crash. I hope nothing happens to anybody. But it happens, car crash. What can you do? You want to pray to Krishna for what? So he becomes your servant to arrange something for you? Now, if your child is in danger, your car broke down and you need to go, that is beyond your control. You follow? That time, you can literally seek shelter of Krishna. But if it is something like, we have to always think like, we want to pray, depend on Krishna does not mean like a child depends on mother. In the playground, every ride the child takes, you think that he or she is waiting for mother to say yes or no? Did you ever experience you let your children play in the playground with other children? Now you are in the back. Why your child is freely moving around? Why? Because in the mind of the child is there that my mother is there. You follow? Maybe, you understand the concept. So child is freely moving in the playground with the other children. But in the back of the child's mind, mother is there. That dependence is there. So this is first understanding. Then when you say you depend on Krishna, it's like the child depend on Krishna. Now, if the child wants to slide down, it's not like, Mommy, should I slide down? Really don't need to ask, neither they ask. I don't think they do. So something like that, you can relate. Whatever happened, see, Krishna is always there because you're depending on. Is it clear to that extent? Now, if some child actually push this child and knock out or something, now what is going to do? There could be another lady more strong than child's mother, or there could be more intelligent or more other things, but the child will go to the mother who is not as strong as other lady or other. Why? Because child has that assurance within, feeling that my mother will do the best, better than anybody else. Where this conception is coming, where the belief is coming to the child? Faith. So you have to depend on Krishna on that basis. And this will never be broken. This will never be broken. It makes sense? Yes?
Yeah, I was just thinking about the story. I think it was a devotee at the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he was slapping 3 times in his hands. And
Srivas Thakur.
Srivas Thakur, yeah. Can you quickly tell the story? Because I think the story is such a strong example of faith.
Yeah, that is a very, how do you say? This is a very great example, but it is not something to be imitated.
I know, but this example
until maturity comes.
Can you briefly just tell
Okay. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually was trying to test Srivas Thakur. So he told, first test was, he told to Srivas Thakur, why are you hosting this person? You don't know where this person coming from. He's talking about Nityananda Prabhu. We don't even know where is his parents, what family is from. You just hosting him and you're giving all the facility in the house, it's okay. Srivas Thakur says, I know there is no difference between you and him. You are the same personality in a 2 form. Do not please put me into illusion. do not change I do not want to know anything else. Nityananda Prabhu is as worshipable as you. Then Mahaprabhu says, wow, you have such a strong faith. See, this is a very interesting. When a highest protector become your very close friend, it's a little difference. Just like Krishna told Arjuna, why did you not take the army, 900,000 army, and I'm not going to fight. So why did you take me? So Arjuna says, this is a good lesson for us. The world has no value without you. And Durjanan thought, God has no value without the world. Just the opposite. Ask yourself where you are. Some people do things in this Alachua, you think amongst all these people, you go and interview, you will see. They will say the world has no value without God. And those who are really strong devoted, they will say, God has no, atheist kind of, they will say, God has no value without the world. And Arjun type of people will say, world has no value without God. So Arjuna was told to Krishna that I don't want anything, just you. If I have you, I have everything. Then Krishna says, I'm not going to fight. What do you get from me? Nothing. He said, please do not put me into illusion. To get you means got everything. Oh, you have such a strong faith. See, Krishna even testing him. I mean, they are eternal friends, but still testing. This is dynamic. You follow? Every moment is like a new venture. And at the same time, Duryodhana was happy. He got 900,000 Narayani Sena, and this happened. So similarly, with Srivas Thakur, Mahaprabhu asked him, okay, Srivas, since you have, of course, at that time, Mahaprabhu gave him blessing. The Nityananda Prabhu, you have such a strong faith of Nityananda, such a way. So I promise you that never, ever in your life have to go out to beg or something because you have such a strong faith on Nityananda. So then there is another story similar to this, that Mahaprabhu said, you have such a big family, 4 brothers. 4 brothers, their wife, you have like a big family. So you need some maintenance. You need to go to work. He says, no, I'll just chant. He said, you will chant, and then what? So I'll just keep on chanting. I'll just depend on Krishna. Now you can try, I don't know whether your faith is there. If your faith is strong there, you can succeed. So then Mahaprabhu says, but how are you going to get maintained? Then he gave a clap. He clapped 2 times like this. Oh, they make too much noise. Then they said, why, what does that mean? You clapping like this. He said 1, 2, 3. So what is 1, 2, 3? Said, I'll see. I'll keep on chanting and depend on Krishna. And whatever maintenance I need, Anandas Chintayantamam Je Jana Prajupasate Tesham Nitta Vijuktanam Jogos Kema Bahami Aham. Krishna promised, when you depend on me, you are serving me, then whatever you are lacking, I will bring, and whatever you have, I will preserve. That's a very heavy statement, isn't it? Such a sweet statement. Whatever you have, Krishna will preserve, and whatever you need, you will bring. So Krishna will bring when I need. Then Mahaprabhu says, how this will happen? He said, okay, I'll wait 1 day, 2 days, and 3 days. By the 3rd time, if Krishna did not bring anything, then I'll put one pot, hang from my neck, and jump in the river Ganges. This is an expression, means if you have a pot, empty pot, this will fill up the water and you won't come out. You will stay underwater. This is the expression. So then Mahaprabhu saw his strong faith. Seeing that strong faith, Shraddha Sabdi Vishwas Kahe Sudhira Nishchay Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kritavai. This is a very heavy, strong faith. Then Mahaprabhu gave him benediction. Yes. Even if Narayan's wife, Lakshmi Devi, had to go for begging, your house will never have a shortage of food. Such a strong faith. But this kind of faith should not be imitated. Mahaprabhu always encouraged, unless you are completely dedicated, you are so busy, then Krishna will maintain. You cannot just get married and say, Krishna will maintain, I don't have to work. There has to be also practical understanding. If somebody is completely dedicated, brahmachari or renounced, then Krishna will maintain it if they are dedicated completely. If they are just lying down on the bed and relaxing, enjoying the leadership, that's not a dedicated. Dedicated means he is always serving Guru and Vaishnava. Not only just temple, also serving the other Vaishnava community. Service, bringing everybody close to Krishna. That is the main job. When they have that kind of faith, then Krishna will take care of them. There is no question.
Sorry, can I ask another related question that came in?
Sure.
Here's a question that says, Haribol, you mentioned that usually we don't depend on Krishna, but try to figure things out ourselves. And how can we understand that God helps those who help themselves?
God helps those who helps themselves, of course. This is a practical example we can see in our movement. You can go one extreme like Raghunath Das Goswami. He did not want to build anything for himself. He wanted to chant, just devote himself to chanting. And he was chanting. Then Sanatana Goswami Path from far side, he saw Radharani putting a cloth to give a shade. So, what is the purpose of our dedication? Making Krishna work for me or I serve Krishna? Which one? Serving Krishna. So then Sanatana Goswami Path asked him, you are chanting very absurd, which is good. But is it like you making Radharani to serve you? Is that a good logic? Like another time Raghunath Das Goswami also chanting, and he doesn't care any protection, anything, just chanting. And there is a big tiger drinking water and looking at him. Of course, Krishna is there. And then Sanatana Goswami Path saw Krishna is standing with a stick, in case the tiger comes. So then he asked the devotee, you depend on holy name, very good. But do you want to engage Krishna to serve, guard you? What kind of serving is that? You're serving the master, you're saying, Master, please take care of me. Please take care, my floor and everything. What kind of master is that? That relationship has to be understood very thoroughly. So after that, Raghunath Das Goswami built a little hut and took care of it. So dependence on Krishna means that for my necessary things, like another example, a very good crude example of Govinda. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he was very exhausted and he just lie down. And because it was very exhausting whole day, so then Mahaprabhu went through big Harinam Sankirtan, crying and chanting for whole day. Then Govinda crossed his body and he went there and he gave massage to Mahaprabhu, and then Mahaprabhu fell asleep. And he relaxed and everything. After some time when Mahaprabhu got up, he said, what are you doing? You're still sitting here. Now, is Govinda dedicated completely? Is he depending on Krishna? So, when you depend on Krishna, do you need to maintain your body? Or Krishna should maintain your body and you take care of Krishna's service? Which one? You should maintain your body also. So Mahaprabhu asked Govinda, why didn't you eat? How are you going to serve if you don't maintain your So Govinda answered, he said, well, it's not that important. So then how did you first come this side? He said, I came this side to serve you. So you could just cross over me. I have to tell you that. In Vedic culture, when a senior person lying down, you don't cross that body. You don't step over. You follow? And Mahaprabhu was lying down near the door. So he could not go out. So then Mahaprabhu says, why did you come and you could do the same thing? He said, I came to serve you. But to go out for me, I could not do that. You follow? This is very nice, ideal example. But we have to be realistic. Am I in that position? So when you, depending on Krishna means, from that angle you have to look that what is my status, where do I fit, how much dedicated am I? Just like Mother Ragatmika, she lives here, and she was typing Chaitanya Charitamrita, and she was so absorbed, hardly would eat or sleep, just little rest, eat and type, and type, and type. So they mentioned to Prabhupada, oh, there is some Mataji's, this, like, because there was a marathon, like the Prabhupada says, he's going to finish this Chaitanya Charitamrita. It was like unbelievable. In a time limit, they finished Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's like impossible. Anybody could do it. Of course, Prabhupada said impossible is in the dictionary of foods. So then, when they reported to Prabhupada, then Prabhupada said, oh, she's under internal potency. So if you have a strong desire to serve like this, then Krishna may encourage you and give you protection. But at the same time, if you get sick by serving and not taking care of your body, is this ultimately really serve the purpose? So there has to be a balance, understanding. For each person is different. For each person is different. We have to be very realistic. Now it's 7:30. Okay. I'm going to just paraphrase this question. What kind of faith is demonstrated by someone who says, just believe in Jesus, Jesus is the only way, or my Messiah is the only way? You know, their different culture has this. What should we do? Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sridhar Maharaj, many other devotees gave a beautiful answer. But just to summarize that when you say, whatever I'm doing, this is it, then you must ask, what conception I have about my Lord? Who is the Lord? Whom am I worshipping? What is his nature? What is God's nature? When you ask for Narayan nature is one thing. When you ask for Brahman nature is another thing. When you ask for Brajendanandan, Krishna's nature is another thing. Krishna's nature is very mischievous, mystical, very heroic, very playful, very joyful always. It's always dynamic going on. And then you have to also ask yourself some question. Who am I? What is my inner self? What is my connection with God? And how can I live continuously serving Him? What will be that relation? So when you answer that way, then it is possible to reconcile this. Now I'm going to finish at least this. How does the culture of respecting seniors, gurus relate to faith? First of all, empowerment comes from respecting seniors, devotees, seniors, parents, gurus, and everybody. So materialistic society teaches us to be aggressive and calculative so we can push our way through. This is what materialistic. In Vaishnava culture, it is opposite. We offer respect. The reason when we give respect without expecting something in return you open yourself up to the power of divine blessings. This is very nice. Imbibing a culture of respect where you are courteous towards others in general, but especially towards elders and Vaishnavas, brings a tremendous potency to you that cannot be gotten otherwise. In our Bhagavatam culture, that we respect according to bhakti. You can see in general, senior people teaches junior, isn't it? Parents teaches the children. But in Prahlad Maharaj's case, who could be the ideal teacher? Prahlad or Hiranyakashipu? Prahlad is the opposite. We see that in Bhagavatam. Sometimes we see that if somebody is very advanced in a philosophy, he can teach us. If somebody comes from a very low class, cannot teach us. But Bhagavatam begins with Sutta Goswami, who comes from a low class. But he became the teacher, and guess who are the listener? They are high class Brahmana, Sonaka, they are very high class Brahmana. We see Bhagavatam says, generally, husbands are supposed to be more advanced than the wife in Vedic culture. Generally, they say the wife should follow the husband. But in Bhagavatam, we see that when Krishna Balaram asked for some food, the Brahmana, they could not give. They have to finish the jagga, they have their own agenda. But the wife, they gave. As a result, their status is very high. And then later on, the husband has to learn from the wife. So in Vedic culture is one thing. In Vaishnava culture, we see that whoever has more bhakti is actually our focus, Bhagavatam focusing on that. Whoever has more bhakti. Whether it's a Brahmana or Sudra or a wife or a lady or a man, that's not the question. Question is whoever has more bhakti. That is how it is more focused in Vedic culture. Any other question or?
There was another question in the chat.
Okay.
Hi, Krishna Prabhuji, we say do your best. Krishna will do the rest. What's your threshold of best?
You do your best, and Krishna will
You do
do
your
the
best,
rest.
Krishna will do the rest. What's best? How do we know when to give over?
Tamal Krishna Maharaj, I like that dialogue Prabhupada had with Tamal Krishna Maharaj. Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked Prabhupada, if this dedication life can be spread into 3-4 life instead of one life, just take it easy, you do your whatever you can, and then next life you start, and then next life, and then you finish it. Prabhupada said no. He said, give this life. Do your best means you are 100% dedicated by your Guru's instruction. If you do one life, this life, say, now you may say, well, ultimately we have to awaken our bhava, ecstasy, which is dormant in our heart, in order to serve Krishna with love of God. So, should we focus on that, or we should just keep on serving under Guru's guidance? So, Prabhupada's view was that you just serve and serve and serve and serve until your last breath. If you are lacking anything, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will come. This is what Prabhupada said. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will come and fill up the gap, and you will get ultimate good. Instead, if you say, okay, I'm doing my best, but I can't do completely dedication. I want to have something for me, $50 for Krishna, $50 for me. Okay, 51 for Krishna, 49 for me. Or maybe, 60 for Krishna, 40 for me. And then after 10 years, Krishna gets 70, I get only 30. I'm advancing, it's true. You can go like this, or you can say $100 with Krishna, I'll just work as a servant. What will happen at the end? If you do that 100%, at the end of your life, you'll get 100% reward from Krishna. You don't have to worry about it. So I hope that answers. It's not black and white, it is inner consciousness, spiritualization, purification, dedication. You contribute your life. How much you contribute, how much you dedicate. Purification means no more sense enjoyment coming in the heart. Dedication means you are consciously choosing not to fall for it. There's a difference. We are dedicating, we're trying to dedicate, then purification will take place. Purification, you don't choose, it's a nature. Means no more desire coming to enjoy, means purify. Purification taking place. But before, in order to see the purification, you have to dedicate. You have to make a commitment. You have to make two things in that. Commitment and effort. Only commitment is not enough. I'm committed, but you have to also endeavor, like even nothing moves, you keep on going. You try, keep on. Constant endeavor with commitment. You don't give up. Even though Arjuna saw the whole battle, who Arjuna saw in the universal form, all the Kauravas dead, yes? But look at his life when he went. When Abhimanyu died, what happened? Was he thinking like, I knew they will be dead? No, he was crying. He was emotionally broke. Even Krishna cried with Arjuna. So Arjuna was like surprised, why are you crying? He said, seeing you, I'm crying. Because you heard Bhagavad Gita and you understood. When this Indian gentleman asked Prabhupada this question, he said, Arjuna heard Bhagavad Gita, but he was crying when his son died. Prabhupada said, you have to understand what is bhakti means. Bhakti means you have a feeling for the relatives and others, but you don't stop chanting, you don't stop serving God. So Prabhupada said, did he stop fighting? Or he said, my son is dead, okay, I give up everything. I go to forest. I don't want. No. He kept on fighting. You follow? He kept on fighting as Krishna wants. So that is called bhakti. Bhakti means you have a feeling for your parents, children, neighbor, whatever happening in this world. You are related to this world. You have some emotion. It's okay. But so long you don't stop chanting, so long you don't stop serving. I like that logic Prabhupada gave. Did Arjuna stop? After his son is dead, okay, he's crying now, he said, I give up. No, he didn't give up. He just expressed his feeling that his son is dead. He got angry. He wanted to kill Jayadratha. And he took a vow. Before sunset, I'm going to kill him. And Krishna said to Arjuna, now how you put logic? Krishna said to Arjuna, you took a serious vow. You're going to kill before sunset tomorrow, or you're going to put yourself in the fire. That's a very serious vow. Do you know what beautiful answer Arjuna gave? This is what Krishna wants us. This is what Krishna expects from us. Arjuna says, you know my power. It's not much, but I know your power. Unlimited. Together, we can. This is what Krishna, dependence means like this. You do your best. You have your emotional feeling for your husband, for your wife, for your children, for your neighbor, for you, whatever. But you don't stop serving Krishna. At the same time, you know Krishna is unlimited, is infinite, is superpower, and you are insignificant. You know it, but together in service. And actually, that's exactly happened next day. Sun is about to set. Arjuna lost. But then all of a sudden, sun just little bit glimpse. Not yet. Immediately, Arjuna finished. Krishna said. So ultimately, he won. The point is that we have to mold our life like this. We relate in this world. We have a school, a lot of devotee children, they have a school, they have a job, devotee has a job. How do you deal with it? Deal like this. This is what Krishna wants. You take Krishna as your family member. You depend on him means everything you do for him. You go to office for him. You serve your family for him. They are your devotee. I want to serve them because they are your devotee. I'll earn money because they are your devotee. I'll guard this. I'll protect this. I'll buy insurance for this house. You have Krishna, Prabhu. Why you need insurance? Because they are devotee of Krishna. I need to take care of this family house. I'll guard the house. This is Krishna wants. You follow? This is called real dependence on Krishna. Not like you bought insurance and you don't depend. No, Krishna wants you to buy the insurance because the devotee lives in this house. This is Krishna's house. Krishna wants you to buy the insurance so that something happened, at least it will be replaced, even for car insurance. And that is depending on Krishna. Now, if you say, oh, I will take care of myself, that is illusion. That is not dependent. There's a very fine line. Am I making sense to everybody? There's a very fine line. You just separate, you remove your own position. You just put Krishna in front and you're doing on his behalf everything. For his pleasure.
If I can just ask, if you could make it a little bit more clear and give an example of the situation where someone would depend on or try to depend on themselves versus Krishna. What you said in the beginning, some people try to take care of it themselves. So what would be an example where they're doing that is related to what you just said? So we can see the contrast a little bit.
In our daily life, we can see that even in Mahaprabhu's pastime or Krishna's pastime, we can see like Jarasandha. He believes in Vishnu. He would worship Shiva and Vishnu and Brahmanas. Every day he would worship Brahmanas, serve Brahmanas. Brahmana asks anything, he will give. Before. So he depends on Vishnu, but he does not respect Krishna. What is that? Is that depending on Brahmana, Vishnu? No. So when we say you depend on Krishna, means you respect the Vaishnavas also, other Vaishnavas. Not like in our community, if we say I love my Guru, I love Krishna, I don't care about other Vaishnavas. That is not depending on Krishna actually. Because they are dear to your Lord. So they should be also part of your extended family. Something like that. Otherwise, it is not actually dependence. It's a vast description actually, what is dependence means. Like when a child grow up in the house, what about the auntie, mother's sister? How about mother's mother? How about mother's cousin? They are also related to the child, isn't it? So is the child depending on the mother? Yes. But the child also respects the whole family, extended family. So similarly, depending on Krishna means you actually depend on all those Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis in a respective way. It's something like that. Otherwise, it will be like you cannot cheat Krishna, I can tell you that. If I have an idea, like I depend on Krishna, but everything I'll do for myself. There was one Muslim guy, there's one devotee, he was going through a Muslim village. And some or other, he was before Muslim, he became Hindu, not Hindu, Vaishnava, and then he's chanting and he's going through, and those Muslim people, they're throwing rocks at him. So he's praying, my Lord, they're throwing rocks, I'm getting hurt, please protect me, please protect me. So Lord Narayan was lying down, Lakshmi Devi is massaging. Lord Narayan says, stop massaging for 1 minute, I'll be back, I have to go. Where are you going, my Lord? Just few minutes. He started walking little further and he stopped. And then he came back. Lakshmi Devi said, what happened? What did you do? He just went a little further and came back. He said, no, my devotee was calling me. But then he was not depending completely on me. After a little while, he doubted. Probably God doesn't, where are you? I need help. Like something like this inside is going. Then he said, oh, probably God will not help. So he picked up a rock and started throwing it back. So that's the switch point where Narayan also came back. Instead of going down to help him, he just came back. He didn't go all the way down. So dependence has a very fine line. Very fine line. How far can you go? It depends how dedicated you are. The Krishna will reciprocate as much. But if you have all the facility and you depend on Krishna, I'm not going to get up and let's see if Krishna will do it. This is not going to work. You know Arjuna Mishra's story? Arjuna Mishra, he was doubting Krishna's word that Krishna will carry things. You remember, I won't say the whole story. It's a long story. But he crossed that line and he said, maybe Krishna will send somebody. So he went out for begging. When he went out for begging, his wife noticed there is two boys, Krishna and Balaram comes. Well, she didn't think Krishna and Balaram. Beautiful boys, carrying all this vegetable, rice, dal, everything. And she was like shocked. She never got such a huge amount of, cooking things. She said, who are you all? He said, your husband, Arjuna Mishra, he sent me all this. And then while they are taking it down from their carrying things, she noticed that they got a stripe on their body and blood is coming out. She said, oh, what happened here? Your husband, stripe. He's never like this. How did he do this? Oh, he did it. He said, no, sit down here. You brought so much, let me cook and make. He said, no, he may get angry, we're going to go. And they left. Of course, later on, that he had a doubt on Krishna's dependence. Krishna really going to carry things for me when I depend on him? Maybe, maybe not. Ask yourself, do you really believe 100%? That's what he had. So he went a little further, he went, I guess, a red pen or something. He crossed that line in Bhagavad Gita. He crossed that line. Bahami aham. No, he's not going to carry. Maybe he will send somebody or maybe something will happen. Like Dowd has so many. So Krishna Balaram personally came to prove that, no, I do carry. I do care when you really need me. But problem is not Krishna's delivery, problem is our faith. Somebody had a, yes, Guru.
Yeah, no, I just about this question, maybe for Kshetra, good example is Drona. When Dronacharya, his son is dead, he's sick,
He heard that his son is dead.
Yeah, then he's sick, he didn't want to do it. Like you said, Arjuna, when his son is dead, he's
this is a very good example. Very good example. That Prabhupada gives a understanding difference, the Hindus and Prabhupads. The Hindus, they say that Yudhishthira Maharaj did not want to lie, but Krishna forced him to lie. This is their misunderstanding. So Yudhishthira Maharaj lied. He says, Ashattama hata iti gaja. Ashattama means his son is dead. But when he was about to say Iti Gaja means by the name of elephant, but the flowing conchal sound, it made it such a way that Dronacharya did not hear. Now, morally, Yudhishthira Maharaj is very advanced there. You know, he didn't want to lie. But is that bhakti? No. As a result, his chariot actually down. But they put Hindu commentaries, no, he lied. That's why his chariot went down. It depends how you see it. Those who have no faith, they see the same incident. They say Yudhishthira Maharaj's chariot touched the ground because he lied. This is called Naitibad. They don't understand bhakti. But bhakti is that he did not obey Krishna's word. What is lie? What is irreligion? What is religion? What is boils down to? One verse. Mat nimittam kritam papam api dharmaya kalpate mam anadrita dharma api papashet mat prabhavata. Krishna told this secret, very secret. He said, mat nimittam kritam papam. For my pleasure, even if you do sinful activity, that is the real religion. Now we don't preach like that because people will get confused. What? For God's pleasure, even if you do sinful activity, that is real religion? Yes. And the next line, Krishna says, Mam anadrita. And if you don't have a good feeling for me, if you don't love me, even if you do first class religion, that will turn into sinful. So what is religion? What is irreligion? What is faith? What is not faith? Boils down to this. Is it pleasing Krishna? That's all. Not everybody will understand this. Very difficult. Only the Hare Krishna people. We end here? Okay. Just 1 minute chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev. Pramanande Hari Hari Bol Bancha Kalpatarushya Kripa Sindhave Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo
নমো নমো বাঞ্ছা কৃপা সিন্ধু পতিতানাং পাবন বৈষ্ণব নমো নমো অনন্ত কোটি বৈষ্ণব ভক্তবৃন্দকে